Hi guys and girls, so today I want to talk about ship designers in Starbase and sort of being such a noble profession, and I think it will be one of the more challenging, and honestly I would say it's probably one of the basically core professions that will make the future of the game in some ways. And I know it kind of sounds weird, and today what we're going to do is talk about probably some of the pros and cons, and my opinions, of course. And I did talk to people in the community about it as well, and it seemed like a lot of people shared the same concerns. Not everyone, and there's people out there who have their own opinions, and, I'm always grateful for those people to share their opinions. There should never be, one way or the highway in any kind of conversation. So basically, designing a ship is pretty complex in Starbase. First of all, if you didn't know, Starbase uses a structural integrity system, and as far as we know, in real life at least, structural integrity basically means triangles are basically the strongest, shape to build something with. So sort of even in real life, when you look at the design of things like a boat, they kind of come out as a triangle, if you think about it. And so I assume similar thought and design will exist in Starbase. Of course, because it's a video game, there might be better ways to make structural engineered, or sound, I should say, ships. And of course, once we get it in our hands, we'll get to play around with it and see what we can come up with. Your multi-tool, which I believe that's the multi-tool in your hand. I mean, it could be in molt mode right now, but I believe you can change it to different, settings and features. It also has a structural integrity setup. I don't believe there's an actual interface yet for it. For example, I don't know if it's programmed actually in the game to easily pop it up. There's a way to bring it up for the developers. That'll be done for early access. So we have no hint, I don't believe yet, of what it looks like or what it will look like, for example. But in the future, we should be able to get an example of that. And I even suggested a hint to one of the developers to make a fun little video on the structural integrity, and we'll see if that happens anyways. So yeah, structural integrity is a thing. So basically, you frame up your ship. If you put, like 5 layers of plating on the side of it, that's bad. If you overbolt your plates on the ship, that's bad. If you underbolt your plates on the ship, that can be bad. I don't know exactly how that works for underbolting it. I mean, one example would be that you get hit by a projectile and it hits around that one bolted area, and then that's it. You've lost a piece of armor plating, which could be pretty devastating. So yeah, the idea is you're going to have to, do a good balance of structural integrity, what I call SI. I've used it in other games like Empyrean Online. Empyrean. I have a fan site I created a long time ago now, kind of like under the devs control, called Empyrean Online. So I call sometimes Empyrean Online. Like for the longest time, I ran Terraria Online as well, and I used to call it Terraria Online. I'm like, no, I mean Terraria, because my focus was working on the fan site, not as much as the games, and then my brain would, lose out there. But anyways, yeah, so it had a SI system as well. So anyways, like I said, I think designers will be a very complex and noble profession. I mean, these guys will do pretty much everything in the sense building you a really nice ship. Some of them will even become programmers. Some of them will hire programmers. I don't know if the blueprint system would include all the copied programming information. The reason I say that is at this time, I don't believe it does. I don't think there is even a way right now to copy programmable chips, for example. But that's of course going to be in the future. I also don't think wiring might get copied. It might get copied in the blueprint. I'm not 100% sure. But either way, that's more of the builder part of things anyways. I mean, the ship designer designs a ship, creates a blueprint, and then you go from there. So as you notice, I use the term noble profession. I feel like, it's going to be a challenging, expensive, in a sense, time-consuming, and to make, those perfect ships out there. And this is kind of my concern. So the developers have offered, I believe, 2 solutions. And it's not that they've offered. It's not like one or the other. They basically said there is 2 solutions how to share your blueprint so far. in the game, and both of them are intriguing. The first one was Steam Workshop, and I was actually really excited about Steam Workshop originally because I thought, well, that is awesome. I can just jump right onto Steam, grab 10 ships, take them into the creative sandbox mode, which might or might not come out on early access, and test it out. And that's probably where a lot of ship designers will be also testing, in the more creative sandbox mode. And so I thought, okay, so you can test out ships, and yeah, it would be awesome. It would be fun. But as time went on, I was thinking, I don't like that idea. I like sort of like what Eve offered. They had like master blueprints and things like that. And the idea is you can take, a ship and create a blueprint from it. I'm talking more in this game at this point. And so I just take a blueprint of this nice ship here where Hamsta is in, and I make a master blueprint. Now, I don't know if they'll have copy masters, etc., but I take that blueprint and I can sell it to another player. So let's just say they did add a more complex system where you can make copies of blueprints, things like that. I take the copy, I sell it to another player, and that player takes it. They get some one-time use kind of blueprint. They build the ship. They can use it. It's pretty awesome. Now, my only concern at that point is what stops that player now for just making a blueprint from that ship and then selling it to other players and making money. When it comes to, a sandbox game like this, I don't believe, and I'm like a strong believer that, that developers should basically, institute a copyright system. So when I say copyright, I don't mean that they don't institute like you're banned for copying somebody else's thing or stealing somebody else's thing. Rather, they have a permission system built in to try to prevent people from easily, buying a blueprint and then all of a sudden copying the blueprint and selling it. That I'm fine with. But my point was that if somebody literally re-engineered another ship or found a way to kind of, rebuild the ship and then make a blueprint from it, that's fine. That's in the realm of, being kind of a pirate or whatever you call it. There's probably a better term for it, but I guess you could call it a pirate of blueprints. But my concern outside of that realm, I think that's great, was the workshop portion of things. So, being able to sell your blueprints in game is all fine and dandy, and I think that's even great. That's a good way for those designers to make money. But when people are able to use the workshop is basically free. There's no pay or charge component to it. As far as I know, there's no way to do that even hooking up in games unless that's a new feature. So what ends up happening is basically, there will be hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of blueprints over time posted on Workshop. This will be people who make really good ships, crappy ships, just for fun, trying something out. And my worry is that, why don't I pick one of the 5,000 or 10,000 ship designs on Workshop for free that somebody spent tens of hours, maybe hundreds of hours, maybe even thousands of hours, perfecting, then pay somebody in game a currency to, buy the blueprint. And so I guess for me, I feel like it ruins sort of the profession of a designer. I think truly that, economy-based space game like Starbase, I believe, honestly, at the bottom of my heart, that a designer has a place. And I have no designing skills. I want to let you know now, I'm not going to be the guy who will build really nice ships ever. I'll take my hand on it, but I'll be more like trying out people's ships and things like that. But honestly, I do not have that skill personally to really make really nice, ships like that. And so I would need to buy it from other players. And yes, if there was Workshop support, it's easier for me to grab it off a Workshop and get it for free than, say, buy it, at a station or auction house, etc. But at the same time, like I said, the designers themselves will not make any money really from it because it'll turn out to be most people just get it from the Workshop. So that's where I'm really conflicted. I really don't like the idea of the Workshop at this point if they have a system in game. I also have an issue with legal issues, actually, like outside of the game, legal copyright issues with Steam itself. Now, I do not believe you can actually modify the terms of service on copyrighted no, I shouldn't say copyrighted, but on Workshop. So, for example, I don't believe the developers themselves can say, well, we have this rule where it's complete anarchy. The end. I don't think they have that right. I think workshops have their own terms of service. And so what the issue is for that is, oh, cool, I bought a cool blueprint in game, let's just say, or a friend made me a ship, and I took that ship and I threw it on Workshop because I wanted to share it with my friends. Well, what ends up happening is that ship was actually designed by somebody else, or they actually stole it in game, whatever. They threw it on Workshop, and now that there's like 30 copies of that, Workshop file on Workshop, slightly altered or maybe about the same, but the original author now is contacting Steam, which they're right, because that's the Workshop rules and stuff like that, and their terms of service, and filing all these DMCA type copyrights. Now, it's not quite DMCA, they don't have to get a lawyer involved and things like that, but they can report it and say, here's the original. You can see clearly these guys are blatantly copywriting. And then all of a sudden, because it's the intellectual, design properties or whatever that people can. And you can actually do that with just things that people make in games even. And so I'm not sure if that will start a lot of drama. I've seen the drama firsthand. I do run Empyrean online. Don't deal with the forums as much, but, sometimes I've dealt with Steam and moderation here and there and even keep an eye on it. And I've seen firsthand the drama that unfolds with Workshop, especially when it comes to designs and blueprints and stuff like that. Even if somebody takes it and say there's a new update and they fix the design to make it better, or if they change a few things because they didn't like it, things like that has caused a lot of issues and drama that I really don't believe belongs outside of the game. I feel like the Workshop is only creating and kind of housing a breeding ground of that kind of drama that is just not needed or required in Starbase. I mean, Starbase itself, it's its own universe, and I would like to keep it sort of in its universe. I don't see the need of spreading it outside the universe onto Steam's Workshop, especially if you're providing the support of blueprints in game, trading, etc. So basically, that's my, thoughts and opinion on designers and building ships and, Workshop versus blueprints in a sense. And I just wanted to share my opinion and thoughts on it. I thought, you guys are, interested in space games, and a lot of people seem to be quite fans of, Starbase out there. So I just thought I'd start making some movies and just talking about, topics and things like that over time. And if you guys ever have any topics you'd like me to discuss, I've put a lot of research into this game. Please note that, some topics I won't have a lot of information just because it might not exist. I will do my best to provide, information on the topic and give you a rundown, my thoughts on it, things like that. And always remember, my thoughts are my own. I'm only sharing what, I feel and personally experienced in many games. I'm not a perfect person out there. I have a lot of flaws myself. And so, yeah, I'm just saying my ideas might, be very odd and bizarre to other people, where some people say, yeah, it makes sense. And that's just how life is, right? So anyways, guys and girls, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, like if you like, and we will see wonderful people next time. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.